はい。皆さん、こんにちは。ジョーです。今日もですね、この Web3、クリプトの領域でご活躍されている方をお招きして、お話をいろいろとお伺いしていくという会をやっていきたいと思います。で、今日はですね、ピクセルモンというですね、エコシステムの、CEO でもあります、ジュリオさんにですね、来て、いただきました。Thank you so much, Julio, for your time. I know you're really busy for the launch and development. And today we like to ask you about Pixelmon and also its ecosystem, tokenomics, and so on. I'm sorry, the Mon protocol and the ecosystem and tokenomics and so on. The first of all, I think I like to ask you to make an intro about yourself.
Well, thank you for having me, Joe. Yes, I'm the founder at MON Protocol and the CEO at Pixelmon. And I'm originally Italian, but I've been living in Asia for now 12 years in Singapore. I'm a former tech entrepreneur, so I worked in e-commerce for nearly 10 years. Was lucky enough through ups and downs to IPO my previous company and then move on to launch this gaming studio called LiquidX in 2021. And LiquidX then acquired the Pixelmon IP, started developing it in 2022, and we just unveiled in late 23 our publisher play with Mon Protocol. Yeah, that's me.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. And I think the audience is quite familiar with the Pixelmon, but also Mon Protocol maybe not too much. So can you explain about what Mon Protocol is and also some story behind it?
Yeah. So we started as a gaming studio, and we've been developing this, let's say, 18 to 35-year-old monster collecting IP, both in gaming and animation for now 2 years, which is Pixelmon. But over time, we realized that effectively one of the biggest problems facing blockchain gaming was distribution. And if we were to solve for distribution for our own games, and we have 4 in production, 2 more in the planning for coming years, we might as well make a bigger play of that and focus on something more scalable. And that's where effectively we came up and the creation of Mon Protocol. Mon Protocol positions itself as a Web3 gaming publisher. Its first publisher play and publisher agreement is with Pixelmon. And in the case of Pixelmon and Mon Protocol, that partnership is very deep to the point that Mon Protocol and the Mon token, while being the publisher token, are also the ecosystem token of all Pixelmon games. So the integration, it is at a full token utility level. We are working on additional partners. Additional partners might join the Mon ecosystem. We hope to announce 1 or 2 very soon. Not always with a full token integration. So we don't want to force games to adopt our token. That was an obvious choice for Pixelmon, given the sister company nature, but not so much for third parties.
I see. And I saw the partnership announcement from Solana, Aptos. And how does it really work? They gonna do something obviously on one protocol, but how do you guys work together?
Yeah. So in the past, I'd say 4 months, we've been exploring partnerships with a variety of Web3 games. We essentially, I mean, maybe we go even further back than that. Part of our company is having a venture fund. That venture fund has been investing exclusively in blockchain gaming projects since late 2021. What we decided 4 months ago was to start approaching these projects, and on the thesis of distribution being one of the biggest problems to solve for Web3 games, asking them if there were ways we could help solve with them that distribution. And that's where a number of partnerships came to play. So first of all, with our portfolio, we started launching some partnership campaigns. I think some of our earliest ones were players like Nyan Heroes, Revolving Games, Chronoforge, which were also portfolio companies. And what we did was effectively just brought essentially players to their platform through the MON protocol questing and community systems. That's where, and I'll make an anecdote. We essentially, one of the first ones, as I said, was Nyan Heroes, and Nyan, it was a very successful co-marketing campaign that we did together. I think they've got a great game. Visually, it's beautiful, and cats in mechs certainly also goes down the meme path. But effectively, Nyan acquired some 500,000 plus X followers, 120,000 plus engaged gamers, I think a couple of 100,000 questers through that 3-week partnership with MON. That caught the attention of the Solana Labs team. So the Solana Labs team after that reached out, and in very similar ways, because when we did the first round of partnerships, we were chain agnostic. We just said, okay, these are portfolio games, we'll push them. Very similarly, we ended up sitting down with the Immutable team, with the Aptos team, with Seedify, that is not a chain, but a launch pad of games. And they all essentially realized that what we were doing was useful to the developers building on their chains or the portfolio companies and so on. And that is where effectively the idea of partnering as the publishing partner of choice for Aptos and Solana and Immutable came, which effectively means that they tell their projects that what we do is useful and has a good impact on real gamer acquisition. The partnership doesn't go much further than that. It's effectively an endorsement and us committing to, take projects that were vetted and onboarded by them earlier in our evaluation and partnership pipeline than others. It has worked very well so far. There's more than 50 projects launched as partners of MON Protocol. And I think a dozen came through direct chain referrals in the last month.
I see. I saw the Pixelmon teaser and also the alpha test screenshot. The quality was really great. It's still not playable, is it? And also, how is the feedback from community looking at these teasers or whatever we can access to?
Yeah. So the game you're referring to is Warriors of Novaterra, which is our dungeon crawler, third game published. So you can play, meaning if you join our Discord and you apply, every week we batch a couple of hundred Steam codes to testers. Testers do need to sign an NDA, and that NDA doesn't mean you can't publish or talk, but you will have to ask us, can I publish this? Can I not? So yes, you can play. I'll actually get you a code, Joe. The honest, thank you for the feedback on it, on looking great. Our art director used to be the previous art director of Electronic Arts UK. He was the art director in charge of Formula 1, 21, 22. He was the character director of Mortal Kombat before that. So I think, and a big part of our team is art. Now, most gamers don't know that art is actually only 30, while it's 80% of the work to make a game, it's only 20-30% of the magic. So ultimately, we realize what really matters is the game loop. And that's why we're batching testers upon testers upon testers, because we need to get that game loop exactly right. And every evening at 7 p.m., there's a new build of the game based on the feedback of the day before. It's radically improving. I find the game fun now. I can tell you that a month ago I didn't. So progress is clear and it's tangible. I think the easiest way to compare it is think about something that crosses over Hades, if you're a gamer. Hades, Dynasty Warriors, One Piece Pirate Warriors as a loop. Games getting better and better. The feedback from the community starts being very strongly positive. I think just a few days ago, there was somebody who's a ranked player of Hades complimenting us. And that's a very positive indicator. But yeah, I do believe there's a few months of work there, yes, yet in fine-tuning, but heading the right direction. And that game will be fully published, hopefully before the end of August, so Gamescom.
And also the I think very unique part of or unique point of this MON protocol is decentralized IP governance that I saw on the website. Can you kind of explain about this concept?
Yeah. So this is part to our Web3 ethos. We really think that we're believers in decentralization. So, and especially if you go and true decentralization, when you go into gaming, you don't necessarily see that because games are kind of centralized products and they need to be to some extent. But we believe that while a game needs to be a fairly centralized decision-making product to develop itself, an IP doesn't need to be. So licensing an IP to different gaming studios, to different manufacturers of plushie toys, to different animation studios, that, in our opinion, is actually a very decentralizable activity. And some of us, me included, believe that in some cases it actually is a better if decentralized kind of activity. We know that there's tons of IPs out there that were over commercialized and ended up with either being ruined or with bad last issued products. And part of that was us saying, we think IPs will thrive longer if we put their future governance in the hands of the fans, the true fans. So in a less commercially oriented ecosystem of fans, but while creating, thanks to the tools of Web3, a commercial incentive. And that's where effectively what we did with our first IP, which is Pixelmon, we fractionalized every monster in the collection and distributed ownership to those fractions to NFT holders. The Pixelmon company is not the owner of the IP of our dragons or monsters. It's legally speaking, it's a perpetual licensee of it from NFT holders. And every time a new product needs to go in development, a new licensee, it needs to be approved by the NFT holders. Now, does this mean that every single decision in game design needs to go through a decentralized process? No, that would not work. I believe it would not. But the decision of unlocking and approving a project, as in a new game or a new product, and the team working on it is. So we've put together this framework. We have 68 monsters in our collection and in our IP, and all 68 are essentially sub-DAOs with then an umbrella DAO across them all. We think it's a novel way of thinking about IP governance, but one that maybe could work best, particularly for true fans and to maintain the true spirit of IPs.
I see. Thank you. And from here, I think I like to go to like presale, tokenomics, utilities, and so on. But beforehand, I think I like to cover some of the major milestones that you're expecting or we can get excited about.
Yeah. So we've when you look at the Pixelmon already produced two casual games. Those two casual games were marketed and published by MON Protocol. The latest one, Pixel Pals, hit over 500,000 players in 2 months. 100,000 DAUs for the entire month of April. While for Web 2, these numbers are still in the medium side of the spectrum. For Web 3, they're quite high numbers. So we're quite happy with them. We just went in Steam testing with our community for our Pixelmon's third game, Warriors of Novaterra, which is a much more sophisticated dungeon crawler, full 3D third-person view. That game is slated for publishing in August with Gamescom. That's on our publishing pipeline. We're expecting to announce our second published IP by MON Protocol also at Gamescom in August. So we've already finalized the paperwork and in just waiting for announcement. Of course, big pipeline before then is the TG of the MON token itself, which is slated for go live within Q2. So I'd say a good success now behind us and still building on Pixel Pals. A lot of stuff happening on the game publishing side of things between now and Gamescom in August. And meanwhile, TG right in front of us.
I see. Pre-sale is already finished. How was the excitement? How was the demand from the community?
We are very lucky to have a community that has been with us so we've been building through our NFT collection for now nearly 2 years and 2 months. Pixelmon is the most traded gaming NFT collection for all of 2024 year to date. It is in the top 5 most traded ever out of gaming. And yeah, so we've been lucky that over 67% of those holders have held for more than a year. And when we went into our pre-sale, what effectively happened is that differently than normal projects that enter the pre-sale with, let's say, an viral build just before the pre-sale, we had super fans that had been with us for 2 years plus that essentially funded the pre-sale in the first 3 minutes. We were raising 8 million USD and we raised 8 million USD in 8 minutes. Now,
Wow.
we're very lucky to have a core community that is hyper engaged, hyper loyal, and that was very evident when the pre-sale started.
I see. Is there any way that me or some other users that didn't join the pre-sale to participate?
Yes. So being it a NFT native collection, our NFT community receives the lion's share of our early airdrop. We have 2 key NFT collections out there. A entry price point, if you want, trainer collection. When I say entry price point, it's still 0.35 ETH, so it's not super entry, unfortunately. But it is, yeah, it is what it is. It grew. It was a free collection, a free airdrop that now has a floor at 0.35, and a slightly higher price point collection, which is our actual monsters, with a floor price, I think, of 1.2 to 1.5 is where it oscillates. All of those assets unlock MON at TG and are part of the ecosystem post TG, being it the first published IP of MON protocol and the best way to enter the ecosystem.
I see. And having those tokens, what can we do? I'd like to know the tokenomics about that and also the other utilities, if there's anything.
Yeah. So we've put a lot of effort in. We're community first as a company. We believe a publisher needs to be. You need to think about gamers, and as such, I think something that is different about MON protocol and MON launch versus the typical TG is that we have 0 investor unlocks other than the community sale and the NFTs. So we unlock around 13% of supply at TG. It's higher than other games unlock because we want to let the token find its real price earlier. We don't want to be in that single-digit supply that doesn't really tell you much. But the lion's share of that and all the external unlocks go to the community. So very loyal, hopefully retention. At TG itself, we will have staking enabled. So you can choose to claim, sell, move to your centralized exchange, or you can choose to stake. I'll be very clear, you don't stake for more MON. It's not a inflationary staking ecosystem, but it is a staking ecosystem where ultimately only by staking MON you will have access to the airdrops of our partners. We have announced over 50 partners, and they have all in some form or another committed to supporting MON, most of them through airdrops. So the first utility of MON will be that of participating to partner airdrops and participating to ultimately the success of MON as a publisher. So as we go from the first airdrops, which is what I call a short-term reason to stake, you then go into a medium-term reason to stake, which is that MON, being the ecosystem token of Pixelmon, has a few properties. The first property is that it will be the token used in all the Pixelmon games. So you will basically be riding gamer demand like all other gaming tokens. But secondly, as we touched upon earlier, the Pixelmon IP is a fractionalized IP, which means Pixelmon and all licensees, Pixelmon company, owes royalties to holders. Those royalties are paid in MON. Now, what does this mean? It means that if there is an offline sale of a T-shirt with a Pixelmon on it, then the licensee that has sold that T-shirt needs to go on the market, buy MON, and pay royalties. So it's the first offline to online sync mechanism that at least I've heard of. And it ties into the entire fractionalized IP system. So MON, and this is important because the biggest IPs in the world, they don't the majority of monetization happens through merchandise. Even the biggest games don't have more than 30-40% of revenue coming from games. It comes from merchandise. So tying your syncs to merchandise is actually more important than tying it to games, and doing both is very important. Now, that's Pixelmon. Then you have the third layer of utility, which is other published IPs. So let's assume that at Gamescom in August, we announced that IPX will be published by MON Protocol. What will that effectively mean? IPX will have its own token, and a share of the net revenue, so revenue after marketing of that IP, will be taken or will go to MON Protocol. And that then the lion's share of that will be airdropped to our stakers. So it'll be a system where essentially our stakers, by supporting the publishing ecosystem and the publishing function, will receive airdrops of partner tokens. So yeah, you've got early airdrops from the 50 partners, value accrual from the Pixelmon IP, and airdrops of, and that's ongoing airdrops, so it'll be month by month by month, of partner tokens, of published partner tokens, when that kicks in. Yeah.
I see. Thank you. I think because of the schedule, I have to let you go. But before going off, can you give some message to the audience, any kind of message that you want to pass?
Yeah, no, I just want to first of all thank you, Joe, for having me on, and thank you to anybody who's gotten to the end of the chat and listened through to me. I think, look, I'm a big believer in Web3 gaming. I think we've hit a point where Web3 gaming has real products, and it's already evident to insiders. In the next 3 to 6 months, is going to become evident to the entire world of gamers. At which point, distribution will be the most urgent worry of every company out there and of every chain. And MON Protocol, in addition to being a developer of one big IP within the space, really positions itself at what I think will be the biggest problem to solve in the industry now in the next 6 months. And in finding in investing in studios for the past 2 years, in partnering with studios throughout this period, and partnering with chains, we're trying to position ourselves as the ones they turn to solve this, and hence then MON stakers being the ones that get the best value accrual from solving it.
Okay. Just before going off, I'm kind of curious how we can get those Kevin Lego on your left-hand side or right-hand side.
This is actually for sale on our site. So if you join our
really?
website, pixelmon.ai, I think if you scroll down, we have a link to a Shopify platform with the Kevin Nano block. The only warning is it's a 300-piece plus nano block.
Oh,
It
okay.
takes you a good 4 hours to put together. So take it as like finishing a complicated puzzle.
Okay. I'll keep that in my mind. I try to get it. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Julio.
Thank you, Joe.
I had a really great time, and I'm looking forward to the further development. And in the future, if there's anything big announcement coming, please come back and give us some excitement.
I will. Thank you, Joe.
Okay. Thank you.